Fit in 10 Nation, it is day 23 of the challenge, and we're getting through the scans. And I have to say that probably these are the best results I've seen. Probably I mean, I haven't tabulated everything, so this is just going through what I'm seeing. But it looks to me like this is the best results I've seen in the second scan out of any challenge I've ever done. Now, I will tell you straight up that if you are a person in the challenge that didn't do as well as you hoped on your first scan, don't let that be the end-all be-all. This whole challenge, and I'm closing my eyes right now because I want to emphasize that this whole challenge is a process. So it's not, yes, every day is a step forward. Every day is another brick in the wall, so to speak. But it is a process that builds over time. So what I'm saying is that, there's a saying, the definition of insanity is, doing the same thing, expecting the same result. Well, it kind of doesn't apply to this because you are going to keep doing the same thing and you will see more results. Things just take time for some of you, okay? Now, for others of you who aren't following everything, all right, and I'm sure you know who you are, and you've asked me what can I do to improve, you've got to just follow things, okay? And don't think I'm insinuating or naming you because I'm not specifically really naming anybody here, okay? Because I don't actually know. But I know, more than likely, that there's probably some of you who are not following the pillars of the challenge, okay? So before you think to yourself, I wonder what I could do, or maybe I should ask Mark what I should do, ask yourself, how closely are you following the pillars of the challenge, okay? And if you are not following them 100%, then that's where you should turn to first, okay? As I've said, there is a reason why I've put everything together the way I have, okay? All right. Now, let's move along here. Muscle glycogen. So this, man, they're telling you this. I explain myself over and over again to people because I have to, because I'm seeing each and every one of you individually, and you have this question, or you may not have the question, but I explained, or we went over your muscle mass, and so I had to explain that there is some variance with your muscle mass reading because there's variance in the amount of water in your muscles, and this is like an ongoing dynamic thing. Okay, your glycogen, there's so many things that influence your glycogen, okay? So here's a few just to list off. Okay, so, let me first, before I get ahead of myself, let me explain to you what my muscle glycogen is if you don't already know. Your body has basically two reservoirs of energy storage. We've got body fat. That's one reservoir or energy reservoir in the body. The other one is glycogen. Okay? Glycogen is the storage form of sugar, essentially, in the muscles and the liver. Okay? And so, the more muscle mass you have, you can imagine the more glycogen you could store, right? So, again, muscle mass is a reservoir for sugar. And when the muscle stores sugar, it brings in water with it. So it's almost a 3-to-1 ratio. So for every gram of carbohydrate, it's like 2.8 grams of water. Okay, something like that. It's very, very similar to that, if it's not exactly that. So there is a lot of water that can get pulled into the muscle, and this can be affected by things like obviously carbohydrate intake. Of course, by your water intake, your salt intake, your exercise intensity or exercise that you've done, or even just your non-exercise activity, just the amount of energy you burnt that day over the last couple days. Individual insulin sensitivity, overall diet adherence. So there's various things here. I would imagine sleep would affect this too. There are so many things that can affect your, where your glycogen sits for that day. And so how much can this affect? Well, you know, the question is how much glycogen can your muscle store? Well, the more muscle mass you have, the more obviously variance we can begin to see, right? But you can expect there to be, you know, and again, there's going to be some variability depending on where you've come from before this challenge. But, you know, you can expect to see anywhere from like, you know, a 1 to 4 pound variance up and down. Okay. So, you know, when muscle mass changes by half a pound or a quarter of a pound or even a pound, you tend to not see it on these scans because there's already variance with glycogen. Does that make sense? If you put on like 15 pounds of muscle, then yeah, of course you're going to see it. Well, that's a bit of an exaggeration. If you put on 5 pounds of muscle, you would see it on the scan, okay? But, you know, a couple pounds or anything less than that, it's very hard to see. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. All right, next question here. Heart rates between intervals. Okay, don't worry if you can't get your heart rates down to back down to the levels that I've asked you to. The point is this. You do your warm-up. You get your heart rate to the lower level. Okay, so let's say it takes you 2 minutes into your warm-up. Finally you get to that lower heart rate. You maintain that heart rate. Then you hit your first interval. You're going to go as hard as you need to on that interval to get to your higher heart rate number, okay? And now what do you do in between the two intervals? You just go down to your interval where you had the lower heart rate, okay? Now, I've already mentioned this, and so maybe I've answered your question already. I mentioned this in I can't remember, X amount of videos ago, but you just need to go at those two intensities, okay? So the intensity that you warmed up at to get your heart rate to the lower number, then the intensity of your first interval to get you up to the higher heart rate. Those are the two intensities that you're going to work with. So forget about the heart rates after this. Just work between those two intensities. So let's say it's, let's use an example of a spin bike, okay? So let's say it's 70 RPMs at level 5 on, you know, a spin bike like we have at the gym. So that gets you to, you know, whatever, let's say your lower heart rate's 115 beats per minute. That gets you to 115 beats per minute. Then you need to like spike it up to, you know, let's say level 10, okay, at 100 RPMs. Okay, and that takes you to your higher heart rate by the end of your interval. Okay, that level 10 at 100 RPMs, that's what you're going to do every time you do your interval. Okay, and that level 5 at 70 RPM that you did on your warm-up, that's what you're going to use in between your intervals. Okay? Okay, don't worry about trying to get your heart rate back down. Okay, it won't happen. Chances are it won't happen. Okay? Okay, message of the day. Message of the day. This is just a reminder to you all that this challenge requires 0 talent. So what does that mean? It means that each and every one of you can do super good on this. Yes, I realize that there is individual variability, physically speaking, but put that aside and focus on the process overall. And trust me, you will all make very good progress. But here are 5 things that require 0 talent that will help you in general in your life, okay? Following a system, okay? Well, that's more specifically towards this challenge, of course. Organization, effort, trying hard, okay? Being prepared, I'm just saying, and a positive attitude. Be positive. Smile. Always think of the glass as half full, all right? Think about just how lucky you are to have a life, okay? Or maybe you don't have a life like me. I'm just kidding. You know what I'm saying. To be on this earth and to be in the area that we're in, we have, basically we can do whatever we want. Pretty much, right? We have umpteen amount of choices at our fingertips, and we have really nothing to complain about, okay? So, no reason for you not to have a positive attitude virtually all the time, okay? All right, that's it. Positive energy, positive vibes, positive attitude. Believe in yourself And for the love of God, give some gratitude. That will give you a positive attitude. Okay? And we'll talk to you all very soon. See you guys.